everyone. This is Brandon Rush. I am the agent investor here from Connecticut. I'm actually going to be speaking with my comrade over in Atlanta, Tiffany Blake. Tiffany, how you doing?
I'm good, Brandon. How are you?
All right, good, good. So this is kind of off the cuff type of recording. We're just going to chat about the markets of Atlanta, Connecticut, and everything multifamily commercial real estate. So first, we're going to start off with Tiff. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, let people know who you are, where you're from, what you're doing, anything else you want to tell about yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tiffany Blake. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I am with the Cascade Berkshire Hathaway office in Atlanta, and I do multifamily, and I'm in commercial real estate.
Very nice, nice, nice. Come on, we gotta do some more. It gotta be something else. What does Tiff like to do outside of commercial real estate?
Oh, I love to travel. I love foreign languages. I've been to three wonders of the world out of three of the seven wonders of the world. So that's really interesting about me. I'm fluent in Spanish. I want to learn Italian, become fluent in Italian. That's a goal of mine.
Got it. And what are the three wonders that you've seen so far?
I have seen Taj Mahal, Chichen Itza, and and there's another one that I saw that I'm drawing a blank on right now, but I've seen three. I've been a lot of places, so yes.
Good. And you're certified international real estate. Tell us about that.
Certified international property specialist. So I do international real estate around the world. So right now I'm working on projects. Dubai and Mexico are my specialty areas.
Got it. Oh yeah, that sounds good. So all right, cool. So I'll quickly tell everyone who hasn't seen me before online through my own personal YouTube channel. So Brandon Rush, Connecticut market is what I cover. Connecticut is much smaller than Georgia. I mean, Atlanta itself is probably all of Connecticut. But Connecticut, I service all of Connecticut, multifamily commercial property. I do a lot of my business in multifamily. I've sold everything from 2 units up to, I think my largest sale so far is 42 units. And I love the space. I invest myself as well. Been doing it for 4 years now. Full-time, 2 years as a broker. And yeah, so I'm just having fun with this, and figured today we jump on, and the way we met one another is through the Berkshire conference, not this year 24, but 23, when we were in Vegas. Was that Vegas?
Las Vegas, yeah, we're in Vegas.
We met in the commercial meeting.
Reception, the commercial real estate reception that I snuck into that I wasn't even invited to, by the way, and I met you there. So yeah,
it's all good. And look where we are. So we're still friends to this day. So it's all good. And yeah, so we'll jump into. We're gonna have a few topic points on this one. Like I said, this is off the cuff. It's on the fly, so we're just rolling with it. So the first one we're going to talk about is market conditions. I'll let you speak about how's the market in Atlanta in terms of multifamily commercial.
Atlanta's a really hot market. We have a really hot market. Actually, Atlanta and the state of Georgia has a lot of hot multifamily markets. There's a lot to offer. The state of Georgia has a lot to offer in general. The multifamily, market is hot. A lot of people want to invest in multifamily. One thing with the market that's very interesting is, back in 2020, people were just buying buildings, paying over asking price, and the sellers were being a little stubborn about, their properties, and they didn't want to budge on numbers. And they still think sometimes, not all sellers, but a lot think that it's still 2020, and they're overpricing the properties that they're trying to put on the market because they sold a property maybe in, 2020 for maybe way over asking. Yep. And now they're trying to recoup their money. But when you get the numbers back, it's just not working.
Yeah, it's hard. Unfortunate thing with that, it just takes time it's hard to accept that, the prices may not be where they were once upon a time.
Right.
But it is what it is. But yeah, what else? What are some of the, Atlanta, are there some, I know Atlanta is kind of one specific spot, but there are pockets in Atlanta or markets out slightly outside of Atlanta that you see on the up and coming?
Actually, it's interesting. My neighborhood where I'm from, shout out to historic South Atlanta, is really booming. They are building so many things. They're actually building right now a multifamily, and actually 2 right next to each other, 2 within a block of each other. And I live on the what we call the Atlanta Beltline, which is the area a trail that
is the historic place. When I came down. Mm-hmm. Where I was? Okay, got it. Yeah, it's a nice neighborhood.
They actually built they were building across the train tracks. They were building a big multifamily building. They're almost done with it. And then they're also building a Madeira property, which is a very luxury property. And an old neighbor, on an old parking lot. They're just building multifamily everywhere. Yep. Everywhere you're looking, apartment complexes just keep going up, keep popping up inside the city and outside the city. So Atlanta area, anywhere what we call inside the perimeter is a very popular area to live, if you want to live in the city. And then there are outskirts of the Atlanta, like for example, Smyrna Vinings is another popular area. Alpharetta is a huge area. Duluth, we have so many areas within and out of the city where they have multifamily, where you would get your ROI, which is return on investment if you bought a property there. But I am a girl that loves a city, so inside the perimeter, the Atlanta in-town neighborhoods is where I find the multifamily hot and where they just keep continuing to build. Because everybody's moving to Atlanta. It seems like every day, all these people are moving here for the corporate companies moving here. We have Delta here, Tyler Perry Studios is here, we have the movies here, we have everything here. So everyone's moving here, so that means we need more housing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, dang. And Atlanta, I mean, you guys are one of the biggest airports, I think, in the country.
The world.
The world, yes. So, yeah, major metro. No, cool. Is the belt that huge system that goes around the metro? Don't you guys have something that's in Atlanta, like that built that big system that you could basically walk the entire thing or bike the entire system?
The Atlanta Beltline. That's the Atlanta Beltline.
Yes, Beltline, yeah. I saw that when I was there. And it seems like properties, I mean, this is probably one more single family, but properties that are on a Beltline have increased in value or will be increasing in value pretty significantly.
Oh, they have. They have increased in value. I mean, and they do Atlanta Beltline tours where they're like going around the Beltline to see, and you can walk through all parts of the city, like get through all the parts of in town through the Beltline. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I mean, I love commutable cities where you can just get around without a car, have fun on the bike, on your feet, it's just all right there. Without all the people, that's the part I love about Connecticut. But I love to be able to have a combination of the two, have my own compound.
Right.
But anyway, so I'm gonna jump on Connecticut real quick.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Let's
so ATL is a much different market than Connecticut. It's much hotter. Anything in that Sun Belt, like going down south where it stays relatively warm for most of the year, like that, people are moving there. Like that's the hottest markets right now. For us, we're building a little bit in Connecticut. We're definitely not building at the pace that you guys are, but we are building. We're on the up and coming. Like for us, Fairfield County is like the A-class market, B-class market in Connecticut, kind of going up, and then we head up into the shoreline and we head up to central Connecticut where I am. There's some development going on. It's not as fast down there. One thing I'm noticing, a lot of developments that are going up are more so like luxury apartment buildings, like 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, but rents are like $35,000, $4,000, $45,000, $5,000 rents. Wow. So for me, I'm like, that seems expensive. I personally don't think there's enough affordable housing here in Connecticut. I think there needs to be more of the 1s and the 2-beds max to kind of cap off. And there are some affordable housing initiatives going on, but there's just not enough of it here in Connecticut. But there are people who moved here during COVID. We had a lot of New York people, for sure, a lot of like Boston area people come live here because it's relatively cheaper and it's easier. There's not a ton of building going on, so it's just a very relaxed pace of life. Unless you're like down closer to the city, it gets a little crazy down there. But overall, Connecticut is safe because there's not a ton of building going on. So if you buy property here, values are going to shoot up at some point because there's just not a lot of building going on. So it's like an inventory for a period of time. Where I think about, I guess to jump on to one other topic. So what are your thoughts on, so we don't build a lot, so I see that as values will kind of stay consistent. Do you think, or maybe it's happening, I don't know too much about the Atlanta market, do you think that there'll be an overbuilding at some point where property values or apartment building values may not be as lucrative, or there may be like decreases in values just because of the amount of inventory coming to the market?
I don't think so, because we have the World Cup coming in 2026 and we have all these things coming to Atlanta. So I don't think so, due to everything coming here.
Got it. I did not know that. The last thing I remember when I was young, this is probably dating me, is I was driving through Atlanta and you guys had like the Olympics going on.
Yeah, the Olympics was here. And actually they're trying to do another bid for the Olympics again, too.
Yeah.
So the World Cup, the Olympics, we had the Super Bowl here. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's expanding a lot. So I don't think so. You never know. But I'm not seeing that because so many people are moving here from all over the world. So
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, my brother moved down there. I would love to move down there, but I need somewhere where I need the mix of the seasonal thing where it stays 75 all the time.
I know. Trust me, I get that. But this is a better, if you moved up here, Connecticut is cold. So it's not that, it gets cold in Atlanta, but not like Connecticut. So it would be really cool.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it's probably that midway cold, not like 5 degrees cold. Like, yeah, that's what we get here. It's
Yeah.
painful. But all right, no, and so you talked a lot about, we both talked about a lot about the benefits of investing in our specific markets. I think with Connecticut, the benefit of investing here is, again, I think the limited inventory.
Okay.
Another big thing is while we're small, we have very good school system throughout Connecticut. So that's another big thing why people invest here. More so, I guess that's really on the residential side, but still, even for multifamily and nicer neighborhoods, you're going to get good school systems. The other thing is affordability. It's relatively still affordable here compared to some other spots nearby, compared to New York and Boston and some of the more higher expense markets. Some of the benefits I was saying about Connecticut are school systems are very good here. Proximity to New York is very good for those who are commuting in and out. We have a very good metro system, Metro North going from Fairfield County into New York and back.
Right.
And we have also some other stuff going up north, I believe, into Massachusetts, the Amtrak, I believe. Other than that, like I said, it's a beautiful place. Just overall, it's a beautiful place. It's very green here, especially in the springtime. I'm into all that stuff, but for you, if you want a more open feel, Connecticut is a very good and easy place to live compared to some other parts. But but I don't know. I love Connecticut. And there's jobs. There's plenty of jobs here. There's plenty of markets for jobs. All the Fairfield County, Hartford itself has plenty of jobs. So job-wise, Connecticut is a small place. So you can always get remote jobs and live in Connecticut, whether you're working at a Boston-based company or a New York-based company or whatever, or even a Connecticut-based company. So for me, I don't know. Connecticut is just a very solid, fundamental place to invest. Another thing to bring up is, which we could talk on next, is the tenant class. I'm not sure if you're a landlord-friendly state or a tenant-friendly state, but in Connecticut, we're kind of, I would say, in between, leaning definitely more towards the tenant-friendly state, just because of New York is very tenant-friendly. I mean, you probably can't get somebody an eviction for 2 years over there. In Massachusetts, they're like probably, not that bad, but probably a year or whatever it is. Connecticut is probably like 3 to 4 months to get a tenant out. So it's, in some of the southern states, I know, I've heard stories you can get people out in a week in some of these places. So yeah, speak on that. How's your tenant class down there?
We're tenant friendly.
Yeah.
We are. Yeah, I think so. And then we also have squatters' rights. So you have to be careful if someone's like a squatter and they're getting mail to your house, getting mail. It's like there's like a process to get them out. You can't just like kick them out. And yeah, we have some stuff here, but I would say tenant friendly because you have to go through certain protocols to evict people and all that stuff. So.
But do you know roughly how long it would take to evict someone there?
Well, it depends on the county you live in. So Fulton County, 30 day. I mean, so usually what happens when you don't pay rent or something, you don't pay rent, you get a writ, and then you have to pay. You get a letter on your door, and then you have to pay it before they give you a court note. I think it's like 30 days is when you have to go to court.
Okay.
But COVID backed everything up. So people were taking them longer to get evicted because the courts were backed up. Got
it. So it sounds like you're still not so much, I mean, that's not a bad timeline.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's pretty normal. So it sounds like you guys are like in between. We're not super strong on either side, but it's...
I mean, we wouldn't have a tenant living there for that long, no, but,
Yeah, not 2 years.
No.
Yeah.
Now, during COVID, though, a lot of people were living places for longer than they were supposed to. I actually went to a building previously, and a woman was telling me that they were actually had all these people that didn't pay their rent due to COVID, so they were paying them to leave. They're like, hey, we'll pay you
cash for keys,
$2,000 to leave, and we won't put this on your credit, but you got to go. And that was like messing up the occupancy of buildings because the building's occupancy was getting lower because all these people who hadn't paid rent were leaving. It was called pay and leave.
Pay and leave.
Yeah.
Simple. The pay and leave program. Come downstairs, get your money, and get out.
Right. And this will not be held against you, and it won't go on your credit. I mean, who wouldn't do that?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Connecticut, you're interesting because you have the proximity to New York, right?
Yep.
So a lot of New Yorkers can't afford, well, okay, I won't say that. Like the prestigious thing to do, if you like work in New York and you're of a certain class, is you buy a mansion in Connecticut.
I think people would think that, but to be honest, like you probably could, maybe not a mansion because houses are not cheap close to New York. They're still relatively expensive.
Okay.
You can get a decent sized house, as you move in closer, but yeah, Connecticut's still expensive on that area coming close to Fairfield County area coming in from New York. So it's cheaper, but you really want the bang for your buck. You move further in, and that's where you kind of get the bang for the buck. And if you want to commute in, for those who can commute in, they only have to be in the office once or twice a week. It's perfect for them.
Yeah.
They move an hour and a half out into central Connecticut somewhere where it's a bit cheaper, and then drive into the city or whatever, take the Metro North, and just deal with it for a couple of days. But,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's right. And then let's talk about just commercial in general, what you're seeing, trends you're seeing in Connecticut in terms of like the commercial real estate all, across the board.
Yeah, so the few asset classes I've been following, little multifamily. I would say multifamily is very expensive. I think that's across the board. There's no place where multifamily. I don't want to say there's no, but it's just very expensive right now. There's still a huge gap between what sellers want, what buyers are willing to pay,
Right.
and trying to find inventory as well. It's not like we have a ton of inventory, and Connecticut is not a big, large multifamily state. Like we don't see a lot of 100-unit complexes pop up here like other metros. Like Atlanta, I'm sure has many more larger complexes. Us, we're like maybe 6 to 18, 20 unit property. You see a lot of those pop up, but you don't generally
Right.
see a lot of 100 units.
Right.
But yeah, still, everything's still expensive. That's really the short of it. The interest rates are really hurting buyers because it just, the numbers don't make sense for them. So it's
No.
really hurting buyers than the numbers. I mean, I see a lot of deals fall out of contract in the last year just due to buyers coming in, hoping that the numbers would work. And, the lender, the terms just don't work and they have to back out because they
Right.
can't get lending. So that's a big issue, I would say, in
Right.
Connecticut. Other asset classes, I would say industrial it's in demand in Connecticut. I would say more so smaller industrial stuff. Like I see like smaller warehouses, garage spaces, not garages, but smaller warehouses and garages. I've seen a lot of those in extremely high demand. The larger ones, industrial spaces, I would say they're in demand as well. Ground up development is pretty tough when it comes to industrial. That's one thing I noticed because I have a land listing now that's zoned for industrial, and we've been having a ton of issues with, not a ton, but challenges with getting it sold for a builder because it just doesn't make sense to buy 20,
Right.
20 acres and build stuff up when they can just find existing building. So
Right.
that's industrial. And then lastly, I would say another thing I've been monitoring is office. Office here has been, I forgot what the vacancy rate is right now. I should know this, but I want to say the vacancy rate is maybe 17% in Connecticut or maybe a little higher for office
Yeah.
space. So,
Yeah.
a lot of people left the office. It's the same thing around the country. I don't think we're hit as hard as some other markets, but we're feeling it a little bit. So that's what I'm seeing in our market in terms of commercial. I don't really follow any other commercial. I do and I don't, but those are
Right.
kind of where I find myself most often between the multifamily industrial, the office stuff, and some other type of commercial buildings, like just general stuff that people need for businesses, which are always just
Right.
as needed for client needs.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about you in Atlanta?
Interesting. So the office space is coming back. It was really struggling, to be honest. It still is kind of, but it's coming back because people are leaving the office. And then industrial is, oh God, that's a hot market.
Yeah.
Very hot market still. The retail leasing is doing well. Well, it's doing well, but then, okay, this is interesting. It's not doing bad, but I do notice some places have there's some hot like the new thing is that with the retail is the eat, live, and play type of places, right?
Yeah.
There are some places that are they're very strict about leasing those places. Like the brands that they want to bring in, you have to match the brand of what it is. It's very difficult as a business to get into those places, right? But I've been noticing a lot more emptier places at I'm not going to say names, but there's certain places that it was really hard to get into, but they have more spaces. They're struggling to get people get businesses to lease there. And I mean, this particular place was struggling. They even had a commercial broker event for all the big commercial brokers were there to help them lease the space.
Got it.
And so that was a couple years ago, that wasn't happening at all. So I just was like, wow. So retail is doing well, but then it depends on where it is. Some places that are doing well are really popping. And then the ones that aren't are just kind of falling off. The small place. And then, like I said, there are places that are very strict about who they let in. It's a whole process. If you want to go and say you're a business and you want to go into a eat, live, and play type of place, a place like the Battery, which is where the Braves play. That's a whole place. The Atlanta Braves play there, and it's like a shopping center. So they have a movie. I think they have a movie there. They have restaurants, all this stuff. It's really cool, actually. I love it. But you can't just go in there. If you want to go in there, they have to like your brand, and you have to have, it's just a lot of politics.
You gotta fit the culture. Yeah, you gotta fit in. You can't just be Joe Schmo coming in just because you have a business.
Right. You can't be like, hey, I started my business.
Yeah.
I'm the Georgia Secretary of State. Let me roll. Oh, I just started a business. I'm rolling up here. Hey, it's no, you have to show them a brand book, how your brand is going to fit with theirs. So. Well, that and then just, the retail space is doing fine, but I'm seeing some changes. Multifamily, is still big, still hot. Yeah. The commercial it's not, I don't think it's doing that bad. Because I keep hearing all these reports. I don't think commercial is doing that bad. Deals are still being made.
Yeah. It's tough. I think and we'll make this the last kind of part of the discussion in terms of
Okay.
the doom of this commercial that we keep hearing about. And I think a lot of it is a lag effect. I think a lot of it happens in the back end, and I think a lot of commercial operators are trying to get ahead of it between working with their banks, doing it themselves. And I think a lot of them know what's coming. I was at a event the other week, and banks are intentionally, proactively, like reaching out to their borrowers to say, "Hey, note's coming due in a year and a half. Let's look at your T12, your income expenses, whatever it
Right.
is, and start to see if we're in a good position to refi." Because rates can be, you're at a 4.5%, stuff's now at 7.5%. Is it going to make sense? Maybe you should consider a sale early. So banks are now having those conversations, but I'm seeing a lot of people preparing. So I don't know if it's going to be as bad as it sounds. I think there is stuff happening in Connecticut where
Right.
people are offloading stuff at a loss for sure. I mean, I've heard of people, investors, just giving up the keys to their buildings just because of non-recourse debt. So they're able to just give the loan back and give the building back and say, "I don't want it. I'd rather just do that than take a loss." What about over there? What do you think in Atlanta is going to happen?
I guess it just would depend on the owners of the property too, because there are certain people that I know that buy properties that are distressed and do
Yeah,
things with them. So it really just depends. But the trend that I'm seeing the most is people not recouping the money that they might have paid that they paid in 2020
got it.
and trying to make that money back and justify it when they can't.
Got it.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, good, good. All right, so what we'll do, we're gonna leave it at that. We'll
Okay.
definitely have another time where we'll jump on, have some conversations about other topics, but we figured we jump on, have some conversations about Atlanta, Connecticut, what's
Mhm.
going on, and then yeah. But Tiff, I want to thank you so much for coming on and thinking of this idea. This is Tiffany's idea, so thank you so much. Credit to you. And yeah, for everybody else, thank you all for joining us. I'll put all of our contact info inside of the Tiff. If you want to plug yourself, how do people reach you? Just so we know. I'll still put it in the comments and whatnot, but
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
you can reach me by my phone number,
Okay.
email, and then Tiffany Blake's Listings LLC. You can follow me on Instagram.
Absolutely. All
So
right, cool. I'll post your stuff below. And also for me, it's simple. BrandonRushAgent.com is the easiest way that way to go there and find everything there. But all right, we're gonna cut it off here. But thank you all so much for joining us. And so next time, thank you, Tiff, and thank you all. We'll see you later.
have a good night. Bye.
Yeah,
Well, have a good day because when you put this on, it'll be day. So have a good day,
yeah.
guys. Bye.
See you.
We'll
See
see
you
you
guys.
later. Bye.